This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome to DRTSPR show. This is Dr. Tangella Shiva Prasad Reddy alias Dr. TSPR. Namaste, Adab, hello, and a warm welcome to Dr. KJ Ramesh Garu, former Director General, Indian Meteorological Department, and he is a walking encyclopedia. Every time I am repeating right from Prime Minister Modi, Bharatiya Janata Party, RSS, Congress, and all the political parties. Every country wants Dr. KJ Ramesh to become their citizen. Why? How many times I should crack my head? You have called for a separate session of parliament now. You want to convert India into Bharat just for the sake of votes. We are clearly saying why Manipur, why it is burning. Did you discuss on the floor of the parliament before I'm making amendments to Tribal Rights or Forest and Environment Act, Biodiversities Act? Mr. Modi and BJP, RSS, you have to answer. Even opposition parties, they don't want to discuss that. Because today, if BJP is there, tomorrow they will come back to power. So loot all resources, natural resources, disturb the biodiversity. It will cause serious climate crisis or climate change, and because of which unwanted, unregulated rainfall, cloud burst we call, it happens, it destroys everything. Now in southern India, in Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, they said yellow alert. Any MP from Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, will you discuss this in the special session of parliament? Hey Modi, what are you doing? Don't you know Indian Meteorological Department has been warning? Why we could not discuss this on the floor of the parliament monsoon? Always fighting on no confidence motion. No, opposition doesn't want a discussion. No ruling party is interested. But there, Kaleshwaram, lakhs of crores of rupees. Pump sets gone. Even Bhadrachalam, Rama Mandir, my dear Hindu friends, Bhadrachalam, what is happening to Bhadrachalam Ram Mandir? Same Modi government gave some mandals to Andhra Pradesh without even discussing. He should have made both Andhra Pradesh Telangana sit together, discuss it, whether it is Polavaram or whichever projects, in an amicable way so that there is no displacement and inundation of such historical belief structures like Bhadrachalam Ram Mandir. Mr. Modi, are you going to discuss this on the floor of parliament? By one act of yours, today, Bhadrachalam Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai. Is he not in danger? Lakhs of crores of rupees, Mr. Modi. Your government did it not give permission, environment and forest clearance for Kaleshwaram project. You clearly stated even Warangal, Kaleshwaram anytime money. Amit Shah, Nadda, did you initiate action? Now they are almost sinking now. Instead of storing water during these monsoons or floods, whatever it is destroying the pump houses like what it has done last year. Neither KTR, KCR, BRS wants to discuss, Congress or other opposition party BJP in Telangana wants to discuss. Same way what is happening with Polavaram. Why inundation, displacement? People are losing properties, their lives because of floods, because of ill planning, illogical planning in dams. Mancherial gone. You don't want to discuss this. Now they are creating another psychology, India into Bharat. I'm asking the same Go Rakshak and BJP RSS. What does Covaxin vaccine contain? Is it not cow blood in Covaxin? How are you allowing that? Why you did not question Modi? Why you are not questioning Mr. Modi? G20 in which way it is going to help us? Did it discuss on the floor of parliament? Is Putin coming? Russian president? Chinese president? Are they going to come to G20? Why they are not coming when they could go to South Africa for BRICS? South Africa could invite them. Why India, Mr. Modi, you are a world leader? Why they are not coming? Why I am citing all these reasons is for taking political mileage. Whenever you are in trouble, you call parliament and there is no agenda. Who is parliament? You are not elected by people, citizens. Mr. Modi or BJP or all political parties. Don't you think people have a right to know Why you are calling parliament? It is public money which is involved. What is the need? When parliament was in session in monsoon, why you could not discuss? Why opposition ran away from discussing? And why the ruling party did not discuss the issues? They passed Jan Vishwas bill, amendment to Forest and Environment, Biodiversity Act, such huge bills concerning all Indians and resources without any discussion. Why you did not do that? Now, interesting factor, High Court has given a notice to Andhra Pradesh, Telangana and central government on the flood shame. I'm going to show you that notice. And that is the reason why I got Dr. KJ Ramesh ji. They should have taken Dr. KJ Ramesh to Parliament. Discuss, you should have made him to address joint houses of Parliament on what should be done, how weather changes, why weather is changing so often, what should we do when cyclone comes, why cyclone comes. Every Parliament member should know, and he should go to his constituency, discuss it, create awareness, because neither in panchayat, municipalities, in assembly or Lok Sabha, no discussion, only implementation from top to bottom. Another special session of Parliament, India to Bharat. What is this? India means what? Citizens. Bharat means citizens. Are you going to discuss lives of citizens? Jan Vishwas bill passed. Biodiversity Act, Environment, Forest Amendment, tribal rights gone. All Manipur like hills will be given to businessmen, corporates to loot for mining and minerals. At what cost? What is that we are going to get? You are going to destroy Himalayas, Himalayan ranges, forests, reserve forest areas, loot all minerals. Environment gets disorganized. Temperatures rise, cloud burst, heavy rainfall, heat and cold will increase. Our present is in will be in danger. Along with that, the future of our children will go haywire. So that is why HC notices to Telangana AP Center in Pill play over Godavari river flood shamelessly. How long? Last year also, all in Telangana, Lakshmi pump, all pump were inundated. Shekhawat, water resources minister, came here. He said absolute corruption. Before that, Nadda, Amit Shah, Modi, Bandi Sanjay, Kishan Reddy, everyone says, but why no action? The Telangana High Court on Wednesday issued notices to the union government and the governments of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh after seeking these directions to them to initiate proactive measures over floods resulting in northern Telangana districts due to backwaters of Kaleshwaram and Polavaram projects. Mr. Modi, why you don't discuss? Andhra Pradesh and Telangana members of parliament, why you are not going to discuss such a serious issue? Why you are not demanding for a special session? A bench of Chief Justice Alok Arade and Justice Steve Vinod Kumar instructed the Union Ministries of Home, Mr. Amit Shah, Environment, Forest and Climate Change and Jal Shakti, Shekhawat, National Disaster Management Authority and Chief Secretaries of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh to file counter affidavits in 4 weeks. Professor M. Kodandram Reddy of Telangana Janasamiti filed the play. The petitioner contended that villages on the banks of Godavari River in the districts of Jayashankar, Bhupalpalli, Mulugu, Manchiryal, Komaram Bhim, Bhadradi, Kottagudem and Peddapalli of northern Telangana region had been witnessing massive floods and inundation from 2019 to 2022. He maintained that this was the result of the increased backwater levels due to completion of Kaleshwaram lift irrigation project, which has 3 barrages and 17 reservoirs, and the ongoing construction of Polavaram project in AP. The lack of disaster management plan, Mr. Modi, unpreparedness of the state government and failure to take proactive steps added to the woes of the people who lost their house and harvest in the floods. Mr. Kodan Reddy presented a letter written in 2021 by Executive Engineer of Irrigation Department of Mahadevpura of Jayashankar Bhupali district to the collector. The E wanted the collector to install systems of warning and danger levels at Lakshmi Barrage at Medigadda while explaining. So these are all there in the public domain. We are not going to go further. We will straight away get into the discussion as we have an expert. This expert also, last 2 years, he has been shouting from the rooftop Where is the mechanism to prevent? Why dams are constructed in such sensitive areas? In Tamidihatti, Mr. KCR, had you constructed, Mr. Modi, if you had not given permission to go ahead with Kaleshwaram at Medigadda instead of Tamidihatti, do you think lakhs of crores of public money would have been wasted? Where did this money go? You clearly stated it is corruption, dynasty, family rule, Mr. Modi. Are you going to discuss this in the special floor of the parliament? Now people are suffering. Bhadradi Ram Bhagwan, Sriya Ramachandra Bhagwan ki jai, Bhadrachalam. Is it not in danger every time whenever flooding situation happens? Last 3 years, same. Who is responsible for that? Like Adi Purush, you have forgotten Adi Purush cinema. You have allowed that fellow to loot, release, but no action by central board on Adi Purush, Mr. Modi and RSS and BJP. Same way, the Bhadradi Ramachandra Bhagwan also, now he is warning everyone with his blessings. This show will go on. Sir, please, sir.
Thanks, Andy. The problem of flooding is more on Godavari side because of increased precipitation in the catchment areas of Godavari, particularly on the northern part of Telangana. If you see, there are two major rivers, Venuganga and from Vidarbha side, and Pranahita from Chhattisgarh, Shavari from Chhattisgarh, and other three, four small rivers are there. Uh, Sileru on the side of Shavari. So these three, four major rivers, whatever rain comes, see, if you understand the topography of northern part of Telangana, it is Vindhyas there, and on the south of Vindhyas, all these rivers are pushing the water. Whatever rain comes on Vindhyas, these are all southward rivers. So nowadays, if you see last 4 5 years, from 2015 in particular, we are getting intense rainfall spells over the Vindhyas from east to west, even up to Madhya Pradesh, East Madhya Pradesh, Vidarbha, and further East Madhya Pradesh, West Madhya Pradesh. So whenever these rain spells are heavy rain spells are happening over the Vindhyas, all the waters is coming into Telangana. So the intense precipitation is happening because of climate change. Why climate change? You can ask question. So climate change is driven by the global warming. Warming is contributing greenhouse gases emissions. If you see very clearly, 2001, post 2000, we are seeing the increase in precipitation in central India, particularly along the Vindhyas. Because of monsoon system coming over Bay of Bengal, they will move inland, pass over these Vindhyas. So, whenever rainfall is taking place, that global warming is now 1.2 degree. Post 2000, it was 1 degree warming. Now it is 1.2 degree warming. In next 10 years, by 2040, it is expected that warming will reach 1.5 degrees. So, in this particular scenario, from 1 degree to 1.2 degree, we are seeing the rapid increase in the high intensity, short duration precipitation. So, in 2 3 days, it pours 60 to 70 centimeters of rainfall in the catchment areas. It brings very high volumes of inflow into the main Godavari channel of Telangana to the east of Shriram Sagar project. So whether it is Venganga or Pranahita and Shari, so these three major rivers bring heavy amount of inflows. So earlier, all our estimates of building reservoirs on the availability of water coming into Telangana was based on past data about up to 2000 or so. So all the planning was done based on the past data. So the phenomenal increase in rainfall leading to extraordinary high flows into the Godavari through these three, four river systems from the south of Vindhyas, coming from the heavy rainfall is not accounted. Well, perhaps this is additionality which has come in the recent years because of global warming. This increased trend of precipitation and heavy precipitation occurring for several days during the monsoon season, back to back, at least 10 days, 7 days is minimum. So in this scenario, suddenly you will see the increased inflows into the Godavari River, so which is creating all the problem. So at least on up to Shriram Sagar, to the east of Shriram Sagar, because of this our Kaleshwaram project lifting and other thing, some of the water coming from Vidarbha side and the Chhattisgarh side through Pranahita, etc., is consumed in the lifting process. But if you see the problem in uh, Godavari side, on the Bhadrachalam side, coming from Shabari and other one or two rivers, so there is no reservoir to store that extra water. So that is the problem. Whole water has to inundate the areas and then move towards Polavaram. In between, we don't have any storage. But there was a plan to divert those floodwaters through Dumagudam Reservoir towards Nagarjuna Sagar. So that was there in the plan of combined Andhra Pradesh when before the bifurcation of Andhra Pradesh and Telangana took place. So after the bifurcation, together both the states should have considered the execution of that Dumagudam project, so that that extra water here, at least some lifting of Kaleshwaram is taking some water, but not fully, but that is also moving towards Polavaram side to the east, and from Chebari also additional waters are coming. So that's why near Bhadrachalam a lot of water gets accumulated, and it is under danger level and spread laterally to so many villages, because we have no means of diverting that extra flood flow, which originally some plan was there to take it to Nagarjuna Sagar from Dumagudam side. So unless these flood flow canals which are there, like from Saraswati Canal is there from Shriram Sagar project. Whenever above storage level inflows are there, so Saraswati Canal takes water up to Warangal. So that is a flood flow canal. So in the process, we have created other distributaries to fill the local tanks through all these additional measures. Where you call it mission Kakya or mission Bhagiratha, whatever is there, some distribution of floodwaters is taken into consideration, not to the fullest extent. Most important thing is to account to her floodwaters coming from Shabari and extra waters flowing from Pranahita and other rivers, Venuganga rivers coming into Godavari after consumption by the Kaleshwaram lift irrigation storage capacities. Beyond that, that water has to flow through. So between that point and Polavaram, we don't have any storage. So that flood waters has to be accounted to moderate the flood.
Yeah, that's beautifully explained. But the wrong site also, that we are not will not go detailedly at Tamidihatti. With gravity, it would have
Yeah,
gone
yeah.
to Yelampuri. Now you have constructed it at
But
Medigada. It is downstream again.
see, those things are again assessments. People have given different perspectives. Finally, government has taken some decision. So those are whatever right or wrong. that is happened. Now we have to take it into consideration and find out alternative
But what is happening is
options.
now the petitioner is very clear. Lakshmi pump. These are two stages. Lakshmi
Yes,
and
yes.
then another one. It will come till it comes to Yelampalli. Two stages of
Mm.
pumping. Now, when the water flows from Tamidihatti, from Maharashtra towards
Yes,
Kaleshwaram, it is
yes,
gravity.
yes,
With gravity, with force, it is
yes,
going flood water. How can you pump
yes,
that water? That is what they said. Etipotala gadi, Tipipotala. They said it is not lifting, but it is going the other way. You are lifting
yes.
into one pump station. That again, the water from top, it is coming and it
It
is
is
taking away
coming
that
back.
water along with that water, and it is sinking these pumps. Don't you think this is also
Yeah,
led?
last year it has happened. Last year it has happened. Last year it has happened.
Last time it has happened, even this time also the same problem we are facing. Had that been in a proper,
Yes,
as you rightly said, proper way, that water we could have stored through feeder canals,
yes.
properly constructed storage
Mm.
tanks or feeder canals, it could have been distributed. But when that is not happening, this is additional pressure. Along with that, Shabari and as you rightly said, Penganga, Pranahita again flowing, creating a convergence of 1 second, sir, creating a sort of convergence all of a sudden on one point at that
Yes.
Bhadrachalam side. Now it is
Mm.
inundating and it is threatening the Ram temple. Such type of
Yes.
serious
Mm.
issue. How is that Parliament or both of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh Assembly are not discussing, sir?
No, this is mainly because at the planning stage and DPR preparation stage, detailed project report preparation stage, worst case scenario should have been simulated, and that should have generated these extreme inundation that can happen when all the three rivers are in spate because of a continuous rainfall happening. See, hypothetically, these model inundation scenarios by the flood forecast, flood modeling tools, you will have to prescribe those heavy volumes coming into the Godavari channel and downstream beyond the storage capacity which you have created, whether by gravity reservoir or by lifting reservoirs. But beyond that, if that water is coming, what will be the scale of inundation? If that continues for 1 week, what it would be? If that continues for 10 days, what it would be? Beyond when everything is filled up at the upstream, and how to tackle that. So that kind of worst case scenario analysis perhaps has not been done. Had they have carried out this kind of worst case scenario simulation and the associated impacts, definitely they could have planned for some diversion of those waters in that scenario towards Nagarjuna Sagar or somewhere else, wherever possibility exists. At least that kind of critical flood management options were not even considered at the time of executing these major irrigation systems over Telangana and upper part of Telangana and north Telangana side. So perhaps that could be the reason. If DPR carries that kind of scenario, nobody can ignore to account for it. So at least after experiencing now, public has gone to High Court after suffering, because year after year people are suffering, whole communities are suffering, and there is no relief option seen in the vicinity because we have not constructed anything between Polam and Kaleshwaram. So that is the biggest problem now. People have to suffer until something comes. So easiest would be, at least now with due discussion in the court under this pretext, fast tracking Dumagodam flood flow canal to Nagarjuna Sagar perhaps can happen. That is what I am hoping. It was originally envisaged in the combined Andhra Pradesh, along Pranahita Chevela reservoir at the time in a different plan when it was started. Now we executed in a different way, and now at least we have to find out the worst case scenario got to be assessed, and the extra waters, how to handle them um,
No, but court also,
without
do you think
inundating.
when Parliament is ignoring, Modi is
Hmm?
ignoring, Shekhawat, Parliament is ignoring,
Hmm.
Mr. Modi ignores, Amit Shah ignores, Shekhawat, Water Resources Minister ignores. Last time he had come
No,
here
it is.
and he made a big comment. I've
Hmm.
even, if I want Mr. Modi, we will show those headlines, those papers. How is
Hmm.
that they kept silent? Now another monsoon is happening. Before monsoon, don't you think preparedness should be there on the part of state governments and central government?
See, this is one issue, major issue year after year. Larger communities are suffering. Likewise, if you see, many of our major cities, whenever heavy rainfall takes place, urban flooding is invariably happening. You take the case of Hyderabad, you take the case of Mumbai, you take the case of Bangalore or Chennai, Calcutta. No city is spared of this urban flooding, waterlogging, and overflowing of drainages. No drainage capacity increasing option is on priority in smart cities or Amrit scheme or anything. Only they are interested in buying electric buses. Earlier they were buying CNG buses and soft options of smart city programs only are executed.
Now
Difficult problems of
they're doing
smart
they're
city,
doing they're
air
doing one thing
pollution,
regularly, sir.
are flooding.
They're doing one thing regularly, declaring holidays.
Yes. That is not the solution. People are daily earners are suffering from that. Officers' productivity suffers. Public life gets paralyzed. Not one occasion, occasion after occasion,
Education,
event
health,
after event.
education, education, health.
Uh, but we are not taking that on priority. Moderating the flood, whether it is urban flood or riverine flood. In this particular case, Telangana, every year, every monsoon, this is a fourth year in the running, as the applicant said. So even now, that is not going into the minds of the administrators and the reservoir managers and the irrigation department authorities as a high priority. We have to address this. So at least now, through this notice of the high court, some due attention to find out ways and means of quickly executing flood flow canal from Dumagudam, or Dumagudam and additional place also may be required. So let those planning happen and get executed very quickly, so that relief can be expected to the people of North Telangana.
Now, do you know the special session of Parliament or whatever? But don't you think they should discuss this as a priority issue? Two big states,
Yeah, these are
two
the
big states.
climate emergency. Uh, these are the climate emergency experiences which country is facing. Whether you take it, the issue incidences in Himachal Pradesh, incidences in Uttarakhand, incidences in Assam. This time, Assam Brahmaputra is in floods for more than 3 months
3 months.
continuously.
Yeah, that's what.
Low-lying areas were longest flooding of Brahmaputra this year. And
Hmm.
then these epochs of river floods, and even Gujarat had flood through Narmada River, uh, um, through Narmada River induced floods. Heavy rainfall, local heavy rainfall also created flooding, apart from the Biparjoy cyclone. And this Telangana has become a perennial flooding of North Telangana has become a perennial problem. So and then with this, what is happening? Even our Varangal side, Samakka Sarlaka, that one small river is
Divert.
there. So
Yeah.
that has destroyed most of the bridges that were constructed in that area, because bridges are collapsing when carrying capacity of the channel exceeds your culvert and bridge size. Then only that breaking of culverts will take place. So your carrying capacities are not accounted when while constructing those small dams and bridges, for increased rainfall volumes which are coming, inflows, exceedingly high inflows coming, that means you have not accounted those extreme scenarios while designing the length of the bridges, width of the culverts. So that's why infrastructure is not sustaining, it is breaking. So these are some of the, not only in many highways also this is happening. Many highways, small rivulets, bridges are collapsing because these unexpected high volumes of water which river brings in from upstream to downstream, when the carrying capacity of the structure is not sufficient enough to flow that water through, all these things are happening. So this is a problem of accounting the extreme scenario of rainfall in upstream areas, upstream catchments, and then flowing downstream. And whenever we are constructing highway bridges or balancing reservoirs or downstream releases, if you cannot plan for that kind of resilient structures, this kind of helplessness scenario will develop. So for this, there are two things. One, additional water has to be diverted to some other places, like Dumagudam is one example, which is there in record planning in the previous planning, previous government planning. Now there could be additional possibilities of diverting that water also become possible. So those things got to be explored quickly. That has to be executed. And another thing is, this yellow alert is given, and orange alert is given, red alert is given. Yellow alert is given much before the event happens. So yellow alert says there is a strong possibility of extreme rainfall scenario is likely to happen in these districts. When that, you know that that is going to continue for several days, it is not one day event. Yellow alert for a couple of districts, adjoining districts, if that is given, that means extreme rainfall scenario is surely to develop, and that will continue for more number of days. And that gets converted to orange alert means definitely that extreme event is of that magnitude, it will paralyze the normal life. It will surely paralyze the normal life. And then that gets converted into red. That means you have to take action, put in the low lying areas, protected people, low lying areas, vulnerable areas, shift the people, take action to shift the people from dangerous zones to the safe place. So that's how these three color codes. Orange is for preparation, surely that is going to happen. Red will tell when it is going to happen. So you have a lead time for organizing a response, and prepare the people also to within the options. For cyclone, we have people are moved to safer places, cyclone shelters, relief camps are established. We don't have that kind of organized response at community level for thunderstorms, lightning, or heat wave, or these river floods or urban floods. People are left to their mercy, and people are suffering. And response options are virtually not there at the moment. That's why year after year suffering continues. So now, at least for 10 days before, 15 days before, rainfall outlooks are there. With that, not only India, CWC, several other global centers, like just like Europe, runs wherever river channels globally, because of rain, inflows increases in those river channels. So those simulations are also available. Now we will have to expand our monitoring domain in a wider perspective, and have a response action based on that. Every day that update is given. So rainfall, how much is happening in next 3 days, how much rainfall is happening in fourth day to sixth day, how much rainfall is happening from seventh day to 10th day, for next to 10 days, in what area it is happening, what are the rivers flowing from that area, and what is the downstream direction of that water. Rainfall comes, that water has to come into some river. So you can have all those assessments, and that scenario, once it starts happening, you can know how much intensity of inflows are there, and what is the flow duration from that point to this point to a reservoir inflow. If reservoir is full already, you start releasing and create a buffer for it. So all these actions for flooding, based on scientific tools and the rainfall forecast and hydrological response to that heavy rainfall, all those knowledge driven products are available. So now at least we should, like Europe and other countries, you cannot avoid the flooding, but you can prepare the people to face them and protect themselves. Property loss cannot be avoided, but at least people's suffering can be minimized. Let us hope that something positive in this direction happens.
Yes, sir. Two questions. In G20, you are making hangama, but when you see north, west, east, south, the entire country is suffering either with riverine flooding or urban flooding. Don't you think this is more important than what the cosmetic G20? We don't know. Yes, we need to have foreign relations, good relations, but Putin and Chinese president, when they are skipping at the charm of that G20, I think it should have been gone by this now. Don't you think the special parliament, instead of concentrating on such type of activities, they should now come to discuss the preparedness and say enough is enough. Come whatever may, we will not allow people and India to suffer or Bharat to suffer.
Yeah, the G20 is a rotational presidency. So almost this is the last week of our presidency ending and handing over to Brazil. But one thing I should say, one line of progress, what has happened, there is a working group created for disaster risk reduction under G20. Earlier, it was not there. That is the only thing which India can be boast of. Through our presidency period, there is a G20 working group on disaster risk reduction. At least global best practices of multi-hazard risk management uh, and associated partnership and collaborations can happen. Out of several working groups, now disaster risk reduction is also a active working group which will be deliberated in all G20 meetings and summits from now onwards. That is the only hope. How that partnership and best practices will help us tomorrow to improve our own flood management or disaster risk management and disaster response management, resilient infrastructure building, that time will tell. But at least global knowledge through G20 platform and associated funding also can become possible. So apart from poverty alleviation, health, sustainable development and other things, now disaster risk reduction is also a part of it. Except that technical point of view, all other things are political and economic in nature. But what to do? Priorities of the government of the day will decide the affairs to be conducted.
Yeah. Last one. Now, what do you think Badradi Ramachandra Bhagwan has to say every year to this state, both KCR, Andhra Pradesh YS Jagannath Reddy, and PM Modi and Shekhawat, who keeps coming whenever flooding happens? What should Ramchandra, C. Ramchandra Bhagwan of Bhadrachalam should say, or should warn off to these leaders or politicians and also opposition parties? See, opposition party, I don't think they have any clue on what is happening across India. Where there is a Brahmaputra, when you come to West Gujarat, Narmada, or when you come to South, now what is happening with Godavari? We don't know. We have not yet seen Krishna. What is happening with these rivers? Every year flooding. What has happened with Kaleshwaram project? 100 years history you have to take if you have to build a project. And chief minister, over a period of time, he challenges everyone, and it has been a big exhibition. Big buses used to go to Kaleshwaram. Now what happened last 2 years? Why he is not taking election here? You should take them, all people, all the guests, even G20 should be visiting if Kaleshwaram is one of the best projects. And because if Modi and BJP are silent, they are silently supporting it. Now, what should Ramachandra Bhagwan of Bhadrachalam should warn these leaders, and how he should enlighten the citizens of both the states, and what should be the piece of advice to the court now?
Yeah, not to the court, but definitely the impact of climate change leading to increased inflows into rivers uh, uh, from the catchment areas, upstream catchment areas, is not apparently fully accounted. Only past 100 years extremes are taken, but now whatever extremes are happening under climate change, post 2000 year, are unimaginable. Every year the records are broken. Previous records are broken. New record is getting established. That is the characteristic of climate change. So the factor of climate change, although IPCC assessments are available, but we have not taken into account only the past extremes you have taken. Possible future extremes of higher magnitude are not accounted for in the catchments in the detailed project report preparation and execution of these projects. So at least now the reassessment of those DPRs has to be carried out in a truly scientific manner, accounting fully the impact of climate change not only happening now and what will happen in 2040, 2050, 2060 with the global warming, and then only the additional infrastructure, flood management, flood minimization infrastructure through flood flow canals and other storages has to be planned on priority without losing further time. That guidance has to emerge with this experience from the Jal Shakti Ministry, because they monitor all the projects irrespective of the funding, whether it is a national project or a state project. Clearances have to come from center. TPRs are to be approved. There is something called National Water Development Agency. So between one river to another river, river linking also can happen. Once water from Dumagodam goes to Nagarjun Sagar, means it is a river linking of taking Godavari waters to Krishna Basin Reservoir. So these are small things that can happen whenever the extra water is coming without inundating the people, without putting the whole neighborhood and environment ecosystem biodiversity into further deterioration. So that kind of right wisdom and priority action oriented wisdom, let Lord Sri Ramachandra give to all central government as well as governments of Telangana and Andhra Pradesh, because both the people, both the state districts are neighboring districts are suffering, and at least now with 3 years of suffering and flagged to the High Court, I think some action should follow now.
So till it reaches court, nothing happens. Mr. KCR, YS Jaganmohan Reddy, or Mr. Modi, if courts have to give a ruling, then why do we need such elected governments? People would think it over. तो ये था आज का समाचार, आज का विषय। बहुत एक ऐसी सोच, क्या हमारी लोकसभा जो बुलाई गई है, बाढ़ की व्यवस्था, बाढ़ की परिस्थिति जो उत्पन्न हुई है हमारे तेलंगाना और आंध्र प्रदेश में, उत्पन्न हो रहा है सालों से। मोदी जी आए, अमित शाह जी आए, शेखावत मंत्री जी आए, नड्डा जी आए, सभी लोग आए यहाँ पर कालेश्वरम को, उन्होंने बोला कि यह बड़ा भ्रष्टाचार ये है, और जब भी पानी बाढ़ आता है तो ये प्रोजेक्ट खत्म हो जाती है। और वहां पर जो पोलवरम आंध्र प्रदेश में बन रही है, उसकी जो बैक वाटर से कोत्तगुडम जिला और सीए रामचंद्र भगवान, भद्राचलम रामचंद्र भगवान जी को ही वहां पर मुश्किलें उठाना पड़ रही है साल साल। क्या ये चर्चा होगी हमारे पार्लियामेंट में? वहां पर वहां ब्रह्मपुत्र असम में 3 महीने से वह भी बाढ़ में है, नर्मदा गोदावरी, और यहाँ पर साउथ दक्षिण में ये परिस्थिति। और मैं बात नहीं कर रहा हूँ तमिलनाडु या कर्नाटका या केरला की, वो हम आएंगे, लेकिन जो मुश्किलात उठा रहे हैं यहाँ पर, और जो हिमाचल प्रदेश में और नॉर्थ ईस्ट बेल्ट में हल्ला मचा रखा है, क्या ये बाढ़ परिस्थिति, ये जो नया सेशन में बुलाया गया है, क्या चर्चा होगी? क्योंकि बाढ़ पीड़ित लोग करोड़ों में है और हमारी व्यवस्था अतल पुतल हो गई है, और जो पैसा प्रजा का है वो भ्रष्टाचार से हर साल उनको उनके घर खत्म हो जाते हैं, या प्राण जाते हैं, या हमारे किसान भाई के खेती खत्म हो जाती है। इस तरह की हर साल हम जो महसूस कर रहे हैं, क्या ये आज डिस्कस करने जा रहे हैं? क्या ये हमारे लिए इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है? ये छोड़कर खाली नामों से क्या है, और वो नाम के पीछे जन विश्वास बिल, कोई चर्चा नहीं। उसी तरह बायोडाइवर्सिटी जो कानून लाया गया हमारे एनवायरनमेंट और फॉरेस्ट में, जंगल और पर्यावरण की रीति नीति में, उस वजह से भी गर्मी बढ़ेगी और बायोडाइवर्सिटी खत्म हो जाएगी। उसके वजह से भारी बाढ़ होंगे। क्या ऐसे चर्चा क्यों नहीं होगी हमारे पार्लियामेंट में? विधानसभा तेलंगाना हो या आंध्र प्रदेश, पंचायत, पुरपालक शाखा, म्यूनसिपालिटीज में कोई चर्चा नहीं होगी, विधानसभा में कोई चर्चा नहीं, और पार्लियामेंट हर साल यही नजरअंदाज करता रहा। लोगों की तकलीफ बढ़ रही है, और डैम किधर बनना है, किस तरह बनना है, कालेश्वरम एक उदाहरण है, लेकिन उसके ऊपर कोई चर्चा नहीं। ना भ्रष्टाचार, खाली मोदी अमित शाह जी सब आके यहाँ बात करके जाते हैं, क्या उसके ऊपर कोई एक एक्शन रिपोर्ट मंगवाया? क्या कुछ एक्शन उसके ऊपर हुआ है? आज तक कुछ भी नहीं है। लेकिन करोड़ों लोग, लाखों लोग, हजारों लोग पीड़ित हो रहे हैं उसके वजह से, बाढ़ों के वजह से। ये हाई कोर्ट आज ने एक नोटिस भेजा है आंध्र प्रदेश, तेलंगाना और खुद केंद्र को भी। क्या इसके ऊपर चर्चा नहीं होगी? ये हमारी नदी के बाढ़, और जब हम सिटी में आते हैं, नगरों में, शहरी की बाढ़ वो तो अलग ही है। हर सालों साल हैदराबाद हो या बेंगलुरु हो या दिल्ली हो या मुंबई हो या कोची हो या चेन्नई हो, उसका तो कोई मतलब ही नहीं। बाढ़ से लोग तंग है, नदी के बाढ़ और यहाँ नगर की बाढ़। क्या इसके ऊपर चर्चा होगी या पार्लियामेंट में? अदरवाइज पार्लियामेंट किस लिए? खाली राजनीति करने के लिए, वोटों के लिए? आप आके क्या करना चाहते हैं? इस तरह लोग तकलीफ में रहने से, उनको तकलीफ से बाहर लाना। जो भ्रष्टाचार पीड़ित डैम हो या उस तरह की प्रणाली का हो, उसके खिलाफ एक प्रणाली का रच के एक एक्शन लेनी चाहिए। क्या ये नई पार्लियामेंट सेशन में ले इस तरह की कोई चर्चा होगी? जो मणिपुर के उस समय में चर्चा नहीं हुई, प्रतिपक्ष भी, उनको क्या अंदाज नहीं है क्या? उनको क्या तेलंगाना हो, आंध्र प्रदेश हो, ब्रह्मपुत्रा से लेकर नर्मदा, गुजरात में क्या हो रहा, उनको पता नहीं है क्या? क्यों राजनीतिक दल ऐसे अहम मुद्दे पर क्यों चर्चा नहीं कर रहे हैं? इसीलिए आप नहीं कर रहे हैं। DRTSPR चैनल्स के द्वारा हम डॉक्टर KG रमेश जी को, जो एक उत्तम, जो हम मीटरोलॉजिकल डिपार्टमेंट में जो कहते हैं, ऐसे शख्स को पार्लियामेंट बुला के या विधानसभा बुला के चर्चा करनी थी। क्या करना चाहिए हम इस बाढ़ों से रक्षा करने के लिए, लोगों को पीढ़ी से बचाने के लिए? और सरकार का पैसा, वो प्रजा का पैसा है, वो पैसे को किस तरह हम बचा के रखें ताकि हम थोड़े अच्छे और काम कर सके? क्या इसके ऊपर चर्चा होगी, निर्णय लेंगे? इसीलिए लोग जानकार हो जाइए, लोग जाग जाइए। हाईकोर्ट भी नोटिस दिया है, आप भी जो नोटिस उन्होंने 4 हफ्ते में, तुरंत उन्हें हाईकोर्ट ने फिर बुलाया है, वो 4 हफ्तों में आप तेलंगाना सरकार, आंध्र प्रदेश सरकार, केंद्र सरकार के ऊपर आप प्रेशर डालिए, हर अधिकारी को लिखिए, वरना बाढ़ आएगा, हम बाढ़ में जाएंगे। हमारी वर्तमान गई, कल की हमारे बच्चों की फ्यूचर हम जो कहते हैं वो भी खत्म हो जाएगा। तो ये सब कुछ आपका మీ చేతుల్లో ఉంది. హైకోర్టు నోటీస్ ఇచ్చింది, తెలంగాణ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ కేంద్రానికి కూడా ఇచ్చింది. ఎప్పుడు చూసినా వరదలు, నా గోదావరిలో వరదలు, హైదరాబాద్ హైదరాబాద్లో వరదలు, బెంగళూరులో వరదలు, పట్టణాల్లో వరదలు, నదుల మీద వరదలు. ఎంతకాలం ప్రజలు ఈ విధంగా ఇబ్బందులకు గురి కావాలి? అందు గురించి హైకోర్టు నోటీసులు ఇచ్చింది తెలంగాణ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ కేంద్రానికి. తెలంగాణ జనసమితి కోదండరామరెడ్డి గారు ఇచ్చిన పిటిషన్ మీద 2019 నుంచి 22 వరకు వరదలు వస్తూ ఉన్నాయి, ముంపుకు గురైతా ఉన్నారు. మొత్తం కొత్తగూడెం నుంచి మొదలు పెట్టుకొని మంచిర్యాల వరకు ఈ రోజు వరకు ఎటువంటి చర్యలు తీసుకోవడంలే. పోయినసారి పంపు సెట్లు లక్షల కోట్ల కాళేశ్వరం ప్రాజెక్టు పంపు సెట్లే మునిగిపోయిన షెకావత్ గారు, మోడీ గారు, అమిత్ షా గారు అందరూ వచ్చి అవినీతి జరిగిందన్నారు, కానీ దానిపై ఇంతవరకు చర్యలు లేవు. ఎందుకు? మన వరంగల్లో కూడా వచ్చి మాట్లాడిపోయారు మోడీ. చర్యలు లేవు. ఇప్పుడు ప్రత్యేక పార్లమెంట్ సెషన్ పిలిచారు. ఈ పార్లమెంట్లోనైనా ఈ ప్రజలు పడేటువంటి తీవ్రమైనటువంటి వరదల ఇబ్బందులు మీరు చర్చిస్తారా? ఎందుకంటే అక్కడ బ్రహ్మపుత్ర అస్సాం నుంచి గుజరాత్ నర్మదా కానీ, అక్కడ చూస్తే హిమాచల్ ప్రదేశ్లో అన్ని చోట్ల వరదల బీభత్సంతో ప్రజలు అతలాకుతలమవుతున్నారు. వారి జీవనం మొత్తానికి ఇబ్బందికరంగా మారింది. ఈ నేపథ్యంలో మీరు చర్చిస్తారా? లేకపోతే ప్రజలారా చైతన్యవంతులు కండి, 4 వారాల్లో వీరు అధికారికంగా ఎందుకు జరుగుతున్నాయి, ఎక్కడ తప్పిదం జరుగుతుంది, వరద వచ్చే ముందు ఎందుకు నివారించలేకపోయారు, ప్రజల జీవితాలు ఎందుకు అస్తవ్యస్తమైనది, కాళేశ్వరం కానీ పోలవరం ప్రాజెక్టులు డీటెయిల్డ్ ప్రాజెక్ట్ రిపోర్ట్లు ఎక్కడ పోయినాయి, దానివల్ల ముంపుకు గురైతున్నటువంటి శ్రీ రామచంద్ర ప్రభువే ఉన్నాడు కదా. భద్రాచలం రామచంద్రుడికే ముప్పు ప్రతి సంవత్సరం గండం గండం. ఆ కొన్ని మండలాలు 2014లో మోడీ అక్కడ ఇవ్వడం చర్చించకుండా పెద్ద పెద్ద మాటలు మాట్లాడారు ఆ రోజు కేసీఆర్ గారు, కానీ తర్వాత మూసుకున్నారు. ఎందుకు? ఆ ప్రతిఫలమే ఈరోజు భద్రాచల రామచంద్రుడి నుంచి మొదలు పెట్టుకొని మొత్తం ఉత్తర తెలంగాణలో ప్రజలు తీవ్రమైనటువంటి ఇబ్బందులు గురి అవుతా ఉన్నారు. అందరూ ఆరాధించే భద్రాద్రి రాముడికే ముప్పు జరుగుతుంటే సామాన్య ప్రజల పరిస్థితి ఏంటి? అందుగురించే ప్రజలారా మేలుకొనండి. మీరు మేలుకొనకపోతే మళ్ళీ ప్రతి ఏటా ఇదే వరదలు, మన జీవితం వరదల పాలు. అక్కడ గోదావరి అంచున కానీ, హైదరాబాద్లో ఉండే వాళ్ళు కానీ ఇదే నిత్యం వరదలతో మనం ఇబ్బందులకు గురవుతూ ఉంటాం. ప్రాణ నష్టం, ఆస్తి నష్టం, ప్రజా డబ్బు వేలు లక్షల కోట్లు వృధా అవుతుంది. పన్ను రూపకంగా మళ్ళీ మనతోనే ఈ ప్రభుత్వాలు కలెక్ట్ చేస్తాయి. కాబట్టి మీరు చైతన్యవంతులు కండి. 4 వారాల్లో అందరి ఇరిగేషన్ శాఖ నుంచి మొదలు పెట్టుకొని అమిత్ షా వరకు, మోడీ వరకు అందరికీ రాయండి. షెకావత్, కేసీఆర్, వైఎస్ జగన్మోహన్ రెడ్డి అందరికీ రాయండి. ఎందుకు మాకు ఈ శాపం? ప్రాజెక్టు వల్ల భూములు సస్యశ్యామలం కావాలి, రైతన్నలు పంటలు పండించాలి, ఆ పంటలకు వారికి గిట్టుబాటు ధర రావాలి, మాకు తక్కువ ధరకు నాణ్యమైనటువంటి ఆహారం లభించాలా, ఆ వ్యవసాయం బాగుంటే పర్యావరణం చాలా బాగుంటుంది. విపరీతమైనటువంటి వేడి కానీ చలి కానీ ఉండదు. ఆ వేడి చలి లోపంలో పెద్ద ఎత్తున వర్ష ప్రభావం కూడా మనకు ఉండదు. అన్ని సమకాలీనంగా సమతులంగానే ఉంటాయి కదా. అది లేనప్పుడే ఇవన్నీ కదా. అందు గురించే మీరు ఆలోచన చేయండి. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ సార్. ఐ హోప్ we are doing justice by having this special session
Yes,
with a wonderful guest like
our efforts we are doing.
yeah, that's what sir,
Thank
we
you.
are doing
Bye.
job of panchayat, municipality, assembly and lok sabha. We are trying to
Yes,
discuss so that at least
yes,
high court will take cognizance of what we are discussing every
yes.
year. Even DRTSPR channel links will be provided to high court if they ask for, because we have discussed everything in substance with all evidences where the faulty lines are, whether it is dam or preparedness or management, or every year why this global warming, who is contributing, everything is on record. If they ask for, we are ready to share it with them. And the only hope that high court will surely take cognizance. But in a people participatory constitutional democracy, I feel very sad when for every trivial issue we have to approach high courts. What for? We have panchayats,
Report.
municipalities, assemblies, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Why do we have elected representatives? Why are we electing, investing so much of public money? What for? Why they don't discuss? Thank you very much, sir. Do support
Thank
DRTSPR
you.
channels,
Bye.
DRTSPR channels, and environmental people DRTSPR channel. They're all in larger public interest. We invite everyone to prove us wrong or to discuss and debate. And you can always differ with us, because that is democracy. And in doing so, the issue should be as per rule of law, constitution, invoking evidential act, with no enmity against individuals nor animosity against any party or organizations.